On the 4th day of Christmas, the Armsman sent to me Peter Orty. Now, for anyone who does not know who Peter Orty is, I'm sure you do know his work. To be honest, I'd be amazed if I managed to find someone who doesn't know Walking in the Air, the Snowman animation. The original, the first, the actual one. And it's very important that we talk about that, because Peter Orty was the choir boy who did that. He was the actual singer of the original Walking in the Air. And I did not know that until I started planning this. So I suppose the first point I need to make is Peter Orty is not Aled Jones. Shocking, isn't it? Opal, isn't that shocking? My cat is just staring at me right now. She's like, I cannot believe this. Let me show you. Opal, Opal, Opal. Yeah. Here is Opal. Hello. Bye-bye. Yeah, that's just what she's like. So, there you go. I'm not just making up my imaginary cat, and yes, of course, she's big and black and fluffy. So, not Aled Jones. That's the first point. Second point, looking at Peter Orty nowadays, he's still a talented singer. Still he's a operatic tenor, which is obviously a huge part of most operatic productions and most singing productions, if you're part of a choir or anything. So, he has to have great lung capacity, for one thing, and he has to have the stamina to manage that, because if you've got that lung capacity, you can take in a big gulp of air, and you can keep going for a long time. So, that's something. And he is big. He is a big man. And not big as in fat, I mean big as in tall. Broad shoulders. He's a man's man. Which is impressive for saying what he is most famous for. So, what advantages does he have in combat? Well, of course we all know that he can summon an army of snowmen. That's impressive enough already. I don't need to arm him any further. He's got an army of snowmen. That is on par with Elsa of Arendelle, who, just for anyone who might be guessing, she's not going to appear in these videos. Neither is anyone from Frozen. Frozen is not a Christmas film. I know it's got snow in it, but it's not a Christmas film. It takes place in spring or summer. It's not Christmas. So, there we are. Moving on. Now, the reason for that segue is there's not a lot to talk about with Peter Orty, aside from he is a big man. He has an army of snowmen. He has great stamina and lung capacity. He may be able to fly. And he was once a castrati. I assume castrati, I'm not big on musical terminology, so I'm assuming castrati because of how high he could get. For anyone that doesn't know what a castrati is, don't Google it! For the sweet love of God, do not Google what a castrati is. You will find very dark and very disturbing things if you're a man, and if you're a woman, you will just laugh your ass off. So, this video is quite short. What I would arm a man like Peter Orty with, a very tall man, a very broad man, who has excellent stamina and a really quite fantastic lung capacity, I'd personally arm him with a polearm. A halberd, specifically. And the reason for that is that kind of weapon, a lot of people always like to talk about how much lacking in defence a halberd is, but I've used halberds during HEMA, and we actually found some old manuscripts and old techniques, and to be honest, a quarterstaff would be, a halberd would be used like a quarterstaff, and basically that means it's not just that big axe, pointy and hammer or grabby end that you've got to worry about. It's the whole thing. The whole thing is a defensive, deflecting, attacking. You've got to worry about the butt end as well, because that thing can come up and get you, and if you're not castrati, then you're in trouble. So, brutally honest, I think he could make really effective use of halberd. I think he's got the stamina for it. So, Peter Orty, if you're watching this video, tell me what you think. Do you think you could wield a halberd effectively? And how would that cope against an army of snowmen that may or may not turn on you and devour you as they crave child blood? Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe for future videos. Join me again tomorrow for video 5 in the 12 days of Armsmas. We will not be talking about rings. And thank you. Now get out of my house. Bye.